Thank you to all the participants who have joined in now. We'll just wait for the next 1 minute for the call to start. Thank you, Dr. Apurva, for being so patient and waiting for the participants to join.
Thank you, Ritika Mishra. It's my pleasure actually to be here.
Thank you so much. So, good evening, everyone. This is Ritika Mishra, the Vice President for Activities at MSCI for this year. A very warm welcome to all the participants to our second session of My Story, where we have with us Dr. Apurva Popat, who was an MBBS graduate from GMA's Medical College, Sola, Ahmedabad. He recently attempted his USMLE Step 1 and got an outstanding score of 261. Dr. Apurva's success is an example for all the USMLE aspirants out there, and today we will be talking to him about his inspiring journey to achieve this goal. Considering the confusion around the preparation of USMLE, we hope that this webinar helps you to gain some perspective. We'll be addressing questions towards the end of the session, and hence the chat will be disabled currently. You can send across your questions in the last 15 to 20 minutes when we begin the question and answer session with the audience. Dr. Apurva, I will be just sharing the commonly asked questions regarding USMLE that most of the medical students have in their mind. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ritika.
So the first question that we have for you is, when did you decide and start preparing for USMLE?
Okay, so frankly speaking, it was not actually decided till my uh, final year in even in the internship. So actually, when did I start internship? It was all decided. So ultimately, everything bottled down to the way of healthcare which I saw in the internship, and that inspired me. So yes, the internship was the time when everything ignited in me, and yes, that was the time when I started the step one journey.
Thank you so much. So our next question is, what resources did you use for your efficient preparation?
I think this is going to be the cornerstone of our entire discussion, what we are going to have this webinar on, because the preparation material is the main thing which everybody faces to be challenging. So I think I will spend more time on the resources and the preparation material, on how I used it and how to make use of it efficiently. So that's the main purpose of this cornerstone discussion will be on. So first of all, USMLE is not a kind of mugging up exam. You need to learn few more concepts and apply those concepts into the final exam. So a basic foundation is what you will require to appear on step one. Not only foundation but the core concepts which are really important in day to day life. Like for example, we are student of Gujarat University. We have grown up with the thing that we only learn IMPs and vomit that out into the universities. So that is the trend which is going on here. So if you just learn the IMPs, you will definitely miss out something in the USMLE step one. If you want to be on the edge, you need to know every damn concepts which are asked in the USMLE step one. So first point which I want to make clear is to make a good foundation. Now the question is, how will you make a good foundation? Now you have to start as early as possible, right from your medical college. That's your undergrad preparation. Start as early as possible, and if you are a visual learner, you can watch Dr. Najib's video, and that was the main thing which inspired me for USMLE step 1 videos, because Dr. Najib will grab you from the bottom and he will hit you to the sky. So that's how Dr. Najib, if you are especially visual learner, he will draw hand drawn diagrams for you. Definitely it's a kind of time taking process. Like his video will take around 4 to 5 hours to clear a concept on one topic, but that will be worth for final exam. So like Dr. Najib is one option for laying a good foundation for your step 1 preparation. Second one is a comprehensive Kaplan series. Okay, you can watch 2010 videos, you can watch 2015 or 2014 maybe. So that will lay a great foundation on your preparation, and then you can later on build up. Okay, so Ritika, that was the basic foundation of how you lay down the basic foundation, and then you have to take a next step forward. Okay, so once you are ready with the basic foundation, that you are now prepared for, aiming towards the USMLE step 1, then you need to take one step further. So after you have learned a basic core foundation from Dr. Najib and Kaplan, your next step would be to prepare exam oriented. Okay, so like for example, even if you are in third first, or maybe in the final year, or even in the internship, your next thing would be to step up, okay, from the basic foundation. And how will you step up? Exam oriented thing will be covered by only UWorld, USMLE RX, and MBOSS. Okay, and if you are talking about after laying down a basic foundation and you are see in a dedicated period, then you need to start UWorld as soon as possible. Every USMLE step 1 taker will emphasize on UWorld. Okay, and because that's the cornerstone of your USMLE step 1 preparation. So start UWorld as soon as possible after getting a good hold on foundation. So once you start UWorld, now once you start the UWorld, there are some basic thing which you need to keep an eye on. Number one is how many pass you will do of UWorld. Usually 2 passes of UWorld are recommended. In the first pass, I did in timed tutor mode, like you just open up the question and you just solve it and annote that in first state. Okay, so that's the basic way. You open up the question and look at the hints. Like for example, this is very important to look at the hints. Like how will the question say if mother is having polyhydramnios? The question will state that the abdominal girth is larger than expected. That's how the question will state that. So picking up those critical hints will be important, and write that down into first state. You have to annote that first state, and this is how you complete your first pass of the U word. Now this is a contradiction, that whether you should start doing second pass of UWorld or no. I was kind of reluctant to do the second pass of the UWorld, but when I did, actually I found very new I found something which were very new to me, which I never noticed on the first pass. Okay, so for that, getting a cutting edge, you need to do the second pass of the UWorld once again. And actually in the second pass, I did not solve the questions. Actually, I was just looking at picking up the hints what the question is asking me. Like the same example of polyhydramnios, like the same, if the question is asking about type 3 hypersensitivity, then is it systemic lupus erythematosus, or is it some migratory arteritis or arthritis? So that critical hints are important to pick up while doing second pass of the U. Okay, so if I summarize what did I talk about right now, is first of all you need to lay a basic foundation of your preparation. Then you start aiming up, that you are in the dedicated mode, and then you start the U world. Okay, U world will take around, as per your speed, around maybe I took around 8 to 10 months with first and second parts. So after you are done with U world, then never forget about NBMEs. Okay, they are National Board of Medical Examinations. So you need to never forget about NBMEs. You need to give practice exam as you are preparing. Dr. Ritika, keep on interrupting me if I am, diverting anywhere. So I will be focusing on a topic.
But
So
I haven't interrupted you because that's exactly what we want to know, and what you're saying is really insightful. Thank you.
Okay, so what I was on, okay, if you are completed on, you will never stop giving NBMEs. Like say if you are done with the first pass of the U world, give NBMEs. You have ton of NBMEs guys out there. You have in NBME 11, 12, and whatnot, like from NBME 11 to NBME 24. So keep giving NBMEs weekly, so that will give you an approximate score on how you will perform on USMLE step 1, and that will give you insight on what you need to improve on, because ultimately it's the MCQ which you are going to solve on the exam day. It's not the knowledge, everybody will have the same kind of knowledge, but it is the MCQ solving skill which you need to develop. So never procrastinate on solving MCQs of NBME. Never think that okay, I'll read. It is common with USMLE student who are preparing that, okay, I will read for CNS and CVS, and then, oh, okay, I'll read one more psychiatry, okay, behavioral science, then I will give NBME. This is not a good thing to do, because unless you give the exams you won't know your weak points. If you are done with the first pass of the, you will start giving NBME. You can start from NBME 11 or NBME 13. Okay, so that will give you an insight of where you are weak on. Like suppose in the NBME 13 you scored, let's say 37, you had 37 wrongs, and you notice that most of your wrong answers were on CNS and CVS. So in the next week, prepare on CVS and CNS, then once again give NBME. Okay, so this is how you build up your score. First, NBME will be your baseline score. Usually high scorers will start with a higher baseline, and an average scorer will start with an average baseline. So you have to start with the NBME. And the next thing is, how do you interpret the NBME scores? If you are scoring around 220 or 230 in the NBME, that means you need to gain some more knowledge. If you are around 240s and 250s, that means you need to work on your question solving skills, which are important. So this is very critical. If you are really around hanging around 210, 220, you definitely need to read first aid with full concentration. And if you are around 240s, 250s, and you need to still score higher, that means you need to practice more MCQ, you need to work on question solving skills. So that becomes very good stratification of how you should go on solving the NBMEs. So what I covered right now was basic, then you start on UWorld, then start giving NBME. Now once you are expert on NBMEs and you are so doing good on UWorld, then you can start giving UWorld self assessment. um, your self assessment are good predictions also, that will also kind of give you a good insight on how you are performing. And if you are done with everything, like you have completed UWorld, you are done with NBMEs, you are done with UWorld self assessment, next thing to do is next question bank. This is very critical point in the USMLE step 1 preparation. It is 2019 research says, if you want to increase your mark by 1 point in the final exam, you need to do more 455 questions. You get the seriousness of this. If you want to increase the mark by 1 point, you need to do more 455 questions, unique questions, not repeat questions of UWorld, unique questions. You need to do another Q bank like Emboss or USMLE RX. Okay, so if you do 5000 more questions, you will get 10 marks more in the final exam. This is what the research says. If you do 1500 flashcards more, you will score 1 mark higher than you are expected. If you do 15,000 flashcard more, you will score 10 marks higher. So that is how the question solving skills will come into you. So once again, if I summarize, you start with your basics, then you do UWorld, then add NBMEs, then switch to another question bank. Okay, and if you are really done with all these things, I am damn sure you are 250 plus anytime. Because if you have solved more than 2.5 question banks, I think most of the 250 above scorer will have solved more than one question banks apart from UWorld, be it USMLE RX or be it Amboss. So it is very critical to switch to another question bank if you want to really score higher. So I think yes, that was the summary of how I used first aid. Will be your cornerstone of entire USMLE journey. What I did was, I did annote entire first aid with the UWorld, but after I got my iPad, iPad was kind of very easy, that you can just drag and drop the text which you want to annote in your first aid. You can just annote your images, like if you have a coronal section of the brain CT scan, you can just label that this is the third ventricle, this is the pineal gland. So that was kind of a good preparation and good collaboration of every content of the specific topic. So yes, that was all about my resources about USMLE step 1.
Thank you so much. That was really insightful because most of us do have doubts as to like once our basics are clear, what are we supposed to do next, and the confusion about when to solve view world exactly. The next question that I have, something on similar lines, is that what strategy did you use? Like, in terms of choosing the subjects, since step one has like quite a few subjects. So, what strategy did you use? Like, about weak subjects, your stronger subjects, how did you recognize them, and how exactly did you go about everything?
Okay, yes, this is going to be very important because step one deals with preclinical subjects like biochemistry, it will have genetics, it will have physio, pharmac, and pathology. And most of the times biochemistry will be kind of challenging to everyone, but the good thing about USMLE step 1, to be honest, is everything will be clinical. Okay, even if they want to ask about median nerve, they will not directly ask. If they will ask, a girl has tried to commit a suicide and she just you know uh, attempted a suicide and one nerve was injured, which nerve was that? So it is very very clinical and extremely um, I will say it was a joyful journey for me because I was able to connect everything clinically. Like for example, urea cycle when we studied in first year was nonsense for us. What was the damn the urea cycle doing in my first year? What the hell it is doing here? It was completely nonsense to me. But the USMLE step 1 ask us in a such a way that it does pop out in a clinical situation. like uh, once again, if I say example, uh, how will the mother of the patient alkapton urea come to you? Alkapton urea says that it will have a black urine color. Okay, so they will say you a case like my daughter went to bathroom in the night but she forgot to flush, and in the morning we found that the pan was black. This is how the real USMLE questions are framed, and they are framed from the real life experiences. So if I come to the point that how do you start your subjects, is to choose on the subjects which you are comfortable with. To choose on subjects which you are comfortable with, like for example, if you are good on cardiovascular system, you can start with that. If you are good on maybe pulmonary physiology, you can start with that. So once you gain a momentum, then switch to a subject which you are weak on. Like biochemistry for most of us is a kind of challenging subject, but you need to get a hold on biochemistry because it is really really important. uh, you might be surprised to know that like for example, we study the anaerobic part of glycolysis, that glucopyruvate is converted into lactate. What the hell is important to me? But if you really ask somebody who had myocardial infarction, that person will literally back down to the lactate and say thank you, you saved me, because for that 20 minutes it was only the lactate which was giving 2 ATP to survive for that heart. So that's how the clinical insight is given by USMLE step 1. So everything will be beautiful only, but you need to start with the subjects which you are comfortable on, get a momentum, and then switch to a subject which you are uncomfortable on, maybe genetics, maybe biochemistry, maybe physiology, maybe pharmacology. But gaining momentum is the ultimate thing. You need to complete those 3200 or 3300 you world questions. So that's how you plan out how to move on the subjects, Dr. Ritika.
Okay, thank you so much. I do infer from this that it's very important for you to like clinically correlate everything, and you need to be very oriented towards doing that before you start the preparation or while you're preparing. So thank you so much. The next question is that how did you decide a timeline? Like once you decided in your internship, like you refer to this. So after that, what exactly was your timeline? When did you start preparing, and how did you go about the entire process till the time you gave your exam?
Okay, now that after you have aspired everything and talked to your family that I am going to appear for USMLE step 1 examination, and you have made your parents ready that okay, you go forward, now it is time to sit for you to study. And that was also the same case with me, that I started to sit for USMLE step 1 after my internship. So it was May of 2019. I'll share you my timeline how I did. So that's basically how I'm not saying that you should stick with this timeline, but be flexible with it. Okay, so now you have 8 to 10 months in your hand. What I would suggest, whenever you are going to appear for USMLE Step 1 exam, choose a timeline which will give you a stretch of 6 to 8 months, because interruptions will play a big game on your USMLE Step 1 exam. Like interruptions of even university examinations will take a toll on your score. So make sure you have 6 to 8 months of a good stretch of time and then appear for USMLE Step 1 examination. Natural calamities like COVID things are different. It was nobody knows about that, but you need to be flexible about that. So let's say you have a 6 to 8 month stretch of time. uh, Start hard on UWorld, hit your weak areas, complement those areas with UWorld, or maybe say boards and beyonds, or maybe Kaplan videos. Okay, whatever is comfortable for you. There is no one way to do that. Okay, so UWorld is the cornerstone. UWorld, NBMEs, and first aid are the three main cornerstone. Many of you might think, why I'm not saying Pathoma. I'm not great fan of Pathoma. It is okay, no doubt it will give you a good concept, but I already learned those pathology concepts from Dr. Najib, so that was not new for me. So you have to hit hard on your weak areas and do first part of pass of UWorld by 6 to 8 months, and then you do the second pass of the UWorld, start giving NBMEs, and then comes the process of taking the final triad of your USMLE block. Okay, now it is not so that you are buying a 3 months block. I think they are extending up to June 2021. Even if you register for USMLE Step 1 right now, the block will be extended by maybe June 2021. Earlier it was that you need to book only triad of, but now it is extending up to June 2021. So that's not an issue. Once you are ready with everything and attaining 240s and 250s, then you need to book a date. Okay, this is going to be extremely important. Unless you book a date, you won't be psychologically ready, because then procrastinations will start. Okay, one more week or 2 more weeks, maybe. Okay, I'll take 1 more month to read again. No doubt, if you are scoring maybe say 220s and 230s, if you can take more time if you need, but what's the fun in taking more time if you're already scoring on 240s and 250s? Take the exam as soon as possible before you lose the content grip. Choosing a date is going to be very critical once you achieve your score. Okay, so once you achieve your score in maybe a self assessment 1 and self assessment 2, and maybe NBME 21 or 18, once you achieve your goal, please book a date. Okay, fix that date in your mind and make timetable according to it. Then you have to work on say your that specific restricted timetable. Like for example, my exam is 1.5 month away, so I need to give 3 days to CVS, 1 day to genetics, then 2 days to biochemistry. So that is how you have to work on your final dedicated period. So that's going to be very critical when you're in final dedicated period, to be focused. And one last advice about this I would give is, uh, you need to stay away from everything. If you want something, you need to stay away from everything. Okay, you need to stay away from social medias, maybe the things which are wasting your time. If you want to really do good, I think that was the thing which worked for me. You need to turn off those things if you are in your final dedicated for step 1. Dr. Ritika.
Thank you, Dr. Purva. That was really enlightening. So, like, once you have been preparing for over 6 to 8 months, like you said, and it's the day that you want to give your exam finally. So, how did you deal with the pre exam anxiety that you had?
This pre-exam anxiety is very much common in medical profession, because most of us are type A personalities. Like we want to excel in everything. I want to be a center of attraction. Maybe type A personality will be not happy by scoring maybe university rank 11. They want university rank 1. So this is kind of a pandemic thing. I should say This type A personality pandemic amongst the medical student is more disastrous than the coronavirus, because it is prevalent everywhere. We want to be on the top of everything. We are organizing an event, I want to be top on everything. I'm appearing for USMLE step 1 examination, I want 260, maybe 271, I want to ace everything. So yes, definitely this will no doubt push you, but this will add an unprecedented amount of anxiety in your preparation, which is not at all good. Anxiety in physiological amount is always good, but anxiety when it turns pathological, it will create a problem. So same thing happened to me. I am a type A personality. I think I figured out when I was giving step 1 examination. I was I was like on the day before. Actually, I was hit by corona badly. My exam was scheduled on 30th March, and on 25th March, I got a beautiful email when the Narendra Modi ji appeared on the TV that we are having lockdown for next 3 weeks, and Prometric shot me with an email that unfortunately your step 1 exam is cancelled. I was like, what the hell is happening? That I'm at my peak of preparation and my exam is getting postponed. But that was my real test of those type A personality and anxiety. I was so much anxious that I need I took Zolpi to sleep. I was I was mad about everything. But ultimately I figured out that those everybody will say that day before the exam you need to take Zolpi, maybe 10 milligrams to sleep, get a good 8 hours sleep. And on the next day, if you are anxious, you need to take 20 milligram propranolol to control your anxiety and heartbeats. But frankly speaking, if I would have taken that Zolpidem, I would have scored 10 marks lesser. Those side effects of Zolpidem would have definitely taken a toll on your final USMLE day performance. So the best way to handle anxiety the day before exam is to get up early. Maybe like if your exam is tomorrow, today get up early, take only maybe 5 to 6 hours of sleep and exercise hard, like do unaccustomed things which you have never done. So definitely you will feel tired and you will sleep by the end of the day. That's what I did. I didn't took Zolpidem because I tried Zolpidem, but it took a toll on my next day. So I forgot that idea and chose something which was conventional. So yes, it is kind of very difficult to control that anxiety, but I believe that you must always focus on conservative thing rather than pharmacological things, because self prescription, I know, is very much common amongst medical student. You can take ibuprofen, take Zolpidem as and when required, because you are doctors. So self prescription is not going to work. Be conservative as uh, long as possible. That is what I would suggest. Meditations, exercise, and yogas are definitely thing which will help with your anxiety for step 1. Dr. Ritika.
Thank you so much, Dr. Apurva. You actually mentioned a very great point when it comes to anxiety, because medicines are not the only solution. Like, you have so many, and it's time to like get accustomed to like exercises and meditation. And that's thank you so much for bringing that topic. The next question for you is, since you decided that you want to do the preparation in your internship year, so how did you manage to like study for USMLE during your internship year, considering like internship can be hectic, or for that matter there are some finals year students who might be participants over here. So for them, because final year is already very stressful, and so was internship. So how should such people go about their preparations?
Okay, now eh, if you are in the final year and if you are probably in the internship and planning to take USMLE step 1, this is going to be a very challenging task for you. Final year subjects are like medicine, surgery, and pediatrics and OBGYN. Those are completely different than step 1. Step 1 consists of very basic pre medical things like biochemistry, physiology, pathology, pharmacology. So, preparing in final year and step 1 no doubt, if you are 100% committed that you are giving step 1 examination, like you have considered that right from the beginning of the final year, and you are now in the end of the preparation, then it is okay for you. But if you ask me that how should I go about step 1 preparation in final years, I would suggest that it is like riding on two boats simultaneously, because you have to study entire 4 year subjects in a limited span of time. It's not impossible, but it is challenging. Who would want to uh, like who would love to study biochemistry when you are studying medicine? So this will become challenging. Internship years were also challenging for me. I was all round busy on the duties, because like hospitals like GMERS Sola are completely dependent on interns and junior residents, so you don't get enough time to prepare. So yeah, I saw same thing happened to me. I was not able to concentrate on my step 1 preparation. So so that's what I say. Unless you have a good stretch of 6 to 8 months of time, um, I think 6 to 8 months of time, and a stretch and a specific period will be very much grateful, rather than riding on everything simultaneously, because it is the focus which you need. So that is what I would suggest. If you're in final year, one little thing, if you are in final year right now and just thinking of doing step 1, the best thing for you would be, start CK subjects, like CK subjects of step 2 subjects of USMLE. So that will go hand in hand. If you are reading medicine, do medicine from step 2 Kaplan. If you're reading OBGY, do medicine, do OBGY from Kaplan. So that will go hand in hand. But if you want to, dance around two different things, that will be kind of challenging. If you're already on to it, I am not demotivating you, go forward. But if you are starting to do something differently, then please make sure that will you be able to handle those two things together, because step 1 is clinical. Dr. Ritika.
Okay, thank you so much. Just like a sub question to this question. So usually, like, so I'm an intern right now. So many interns do have this, usually doubt that after like long hours of work, how do they increase their efficiency, or how do they, train themselves to remove time? It can be even during duty hours, according to my personal experience. So how do you think internship students can go about this?
Internship students, especially in this corona pandemic, I don't know how busy they are in the duties, but it's going to be challenging. uh, unless you have a specific, you can do, if you are in internship, then you can just have your mobiles on the way, and you can just you can do UWorld questions, and maybe read the explanation on the way. Or maybe when you are in the wards, or maybe when you get a stretch of maybe 1 or 2 hours, you won't be able to annotate when you are in the hospital. But I think that would be best way to utilize your internship time, because ultimately you need to do UWorld anyway. So it's better to start off, if you are just moving around, and instead of rumbling around with Instagram and stuff like that, you can just start UWorld as soon as possible, in the even in the internship.
Okay, thank you so much. Considering what you mentioned about final year students studying for OBGY or medicine or surgery, so do you suggest that they should give the step 2 CK before they give the step 1, or otherwise?
Yeah, this is very much trending questions. Even I was hit by this, because what I was doing in my final years, I studied step 2 CK material along with my final years, along with my university. So by the end of my final year at university, I had watched and prepared entire Kaplan USMLE step 2 course. So I was like, okay, if I am ready for this step 2, why don't I give step 2 before step 1? Um, then somehow I took many advices, but somehow or the other I didn't go for that, uh, because ultimately USMLE itself has named it. It's USMLE step 1, then it is USMLE step 2. It is pretty much straightforward, that you need to be have a hold on USMLE step 1, then USMLE step 2. No doubt there are plenty of examples out there, you have who have performed excellent in their USMLE step 2 attempt before step 1. And you can also definitely do that. But do consider that USMLE itself has said it's USMLE step 1, then it is USMLE step 2, because it is literally going to um, lay a great foundation. USMLE step 1 will say why ESR will rise. Okay, like if you have fibrinogen around, then the ESR will rise. If you have acute phase proteins, then the ESR will rise. And the step 1 will focus on the condition like say temporal arteritis, where you they will directly give you that ESR is high and you need to suspect. So that's kind of I would say, if you are really having good hold on step 2 subjects and you are scoring good on practice exams like NBMEs and self assessment, then you can definitely go for step 2. But if you are starting fresh, I would say step 1 before step 2. That is what I would recommend.
Okay, thank you so much. So our next question is, how do you think one should go ahead on the exam day? So the day that they have the exam, there are a lot of questions in people's mind. Should we revise? Should we not revise? Should we touch our books, or should we just like trust our memory? So what is your advice for the exam day?
Okay, so finally the D day, and this is kind of very emotional moment for me also, because my exam day was uh, pretty much lucky for me, in fact. But exam day is actually your destiny, which I would say. Like say you have prepared for an entire year and finally that day is coming, and the question is, what would you do differently a week before your exam? A week before your exam is not a week. Like I would quote this thing by a proverb that an athlete will never run 400 mile just a day before exam. He will always practice beforehand. You don't need to practice die hardly just the day before exam, uh, because that's not going to help you. That will only add to the anxiety. So a day before exam, try to chill and relax. So in the last week, which what I did was, in the last week, maybe I just flipped the pages of first aid and looked the tables and the areas which were weak for me. But 2 3 days before the exam, I think maybe 5 days before the exam, oh, one more thing, make sure you practice 8 hours long practice exams. Okay, because this is an 8 hour long test. This will also test your stamina. Okay, and nowadays they are asking to wear mask, so I took my practice exam by wearing mask. Oh my god, what the thing was happening to me. So you need to have a good hold on your practice. You need to stick your gluteus muscles for entire 8 hours. So I think that will be challenging, and you need to practice it at home. After 1 hour, what will you do? Like after 1 hour, I was sitting up, getting up from the chair, I would walk out to the bathroom, do 5 push-ups and 10 squats. So I will, it will just circulate your blood. So this is how I did for entire 8 hour. I took a sip of Red Bull maybe, and some protein bars with me on the exam day, because it was an 8 hour long exam. So building your stamina beforehand is very much important. Please do give 3 to 4 full length exam, full 8 hours exam, to know your strengths. Like somebody might be performing good on 4 hour exam, but what about last two blocks? If you are not concentrated on last seventh and eighth hour, then everything will ruin apart. So make sure you take that entire 8 hour exam and practice it. So exam day was pretty much okay for me. I mean, pretty much very good for me. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. and uh, the routine gratitudes. I stepped out my home at around 6:30, reached the Prometric at 7 a.m. Prometric staff was extremely good there, and my exam was started at 7:30 a.m. In the Prometric center, you are allowed to carry a transparent water bottle. So make sure you carry your transparent water bottle there, and make sure you take your protein bars. Don't eat something which will give you high sugar, because that will just take your sugar level too high and suddenly it will give you a crash. So then you'll feel a little bit drowsy. So make sure you take high protein and high fat diet on your exam day. So take a break after every hour, and do some exercise, maybe jump around, and then get back to your exam. So that was all about my exam day.
Thank you so much. So we have the last question. In the sense, what message would you be giving the USMLE aspirants? So do you want to give the message towards the end, or like right now? Then we can like
No, we
address.
can do that. We could do that on end. You can just start with the questions which people have right now.
Yes, surely. So the first question for you is USMLE good for the ones who plan on practicing in India after the residency is completed in the US?
I didn't get it. I mean, what you're asking?
So basically, is USMLE a good option for the people who want to come back to India and practice? That is, after finishing the residency in the US, if they want to come back and
Okay.
practice in India.
Okay, so you are asking me that if I want to appear for USMLE exams and go do the residency in the United States and come back to India. Definitely, it is a great option. In fact, J1 visas are meant for this. J1 visas. What does J1 visa say? That means your country is sponsoring you to do something great for your country, learn outside, and bring those educations back to India. Okay, and I think that is definitely a good option. Who will not value if you are graduate, if you are postgraduate from United States? Okay, and United States is regarded a best healthcare country, so you need to bring those healthcare systems to India. So why not? You can definitely do that, and I would encourage people to do this.
Okay, thank you so much. The next question for you is, should the approach towards USMLE be like system wise or subject wise?
Okay. Uh, System wise would be a great thing, as far as I suggest. Some people rely on doing random modes. Okay. Some people choose it by doing system wise. What I would suggest is, if you do system wise, you will be able to connect the dots. If you do it random, everything will be random. You can definitely do random things at the end of your preparation, but if you are starting your preparation, do it system wise so you can connect the dots. Okay. System wise means do cardiovascular system, do its embryology, anatomy, physiology, pathology, pharmacology, entire everything for cardiovascular system. Then switch to pulmonary, then do its embryology, anat, physio, and whatever. Okay, so I think system wise would be a great option, rather than doing it random or doing it subject wise. But in the end, I would suggest do it your way. If you are doing good at your way, then definitely do it.
Thank you for your question. Thank you for your answer. So the next question for you is that how many times do you suggest that a person should take the NBME as a practice before appearing?
Oh, this is a very important thing, because if the viewers of this webinar are not knowing what NBME is, NBME is a sponsoring organization for USMLE. NBME is going to conduct your USMLE Step 1 examination. Okay, actually, NBME and ECFMG and FSMB are every three backbones of USMLE Step 1 exam. So NBME is going to conduct your USMLE Step 1 exam. And guess what? NBMEs have their own set of 200 questions for each NBMEs. Now, if you know that NBME is going to conduct your USMLE Step 1 exam, why would you leave the questions which are formed by these NBME boards? They are only making the assessment forms, and they are conducting the exams. So if you miss those questions, I think you should never do that. If you miss those questions, I think then you will be really stupid to do this, because it's the only organization who is creating the exam. Why to miss on the questions which are produced by NBMEs? So I would suggest do entire NBME stuff which is available to you, right from maybe NBME 13 to 24. Do it everything and do every question, solve it with full faith and rationale. So that was what I was doing, and do it every week. NBMEs, as many as possible. Dr. Ritika.
Thank you so much. The next question is again like, can you talk a bit more about flashcards, like how to use them and how to integrate them with studies? Because most of the people and our participants don't have a lot of idea about flashcards.
This was a very critical turning point for my USMLE Step 1 examination. Like, I did my two reads of first aid. Then, while doing third read, I was kind of very much feeling bored, that why the hell I am reading this stuff again and again, and it was not adding to my knowledge. Then I came to USMLE RX flashcards. Some of you might be already doing Anki, different kinds of flashcards of Anki and Anking and Dorian deck, and everything is available. Some of you might be already doing Anki. Uh, but what I was doing when I was doing the third read of FA, I was doing USMLE RX flashcard along with it. Now, USMLE RX is a website which has a content. It is the organization who made first aid. Okay, so they have flashcards which are segregated topic wise. If you are reading cystic fibrosis, they will show you flashcards of cystic fibrosis related flashcards and questions related to them. So what I was doing, I had my first aid in my table, and I was doing flashcard on my computer, say cystic fibrosis. First I was doing cystic fibrosis flashcard, and then looking at the content which I missed on flashcard. So that was kind of adding me, like, if somebody is in preparation for USMLE step 1 might be knowing this, which drug is protective for cystic fibrosis. I never knew until I did flashcards, and the answer was ibuprofen. I was shocked. I read first aid 2 times, and I never noticed that ibuprofen term. So that thing will only come to you until you do the flashcards. Okay, flashcards will answer you. So do flashcards. I would recommend. Flashcards is greater than passive reading. If you just read first aid, it will add nothing to you. If you are actively reading, flashcard is active reading. You read the question first, it will flip around and tell you the answer. So that's called an active reading. Okay, you just read and that will add nothing to you. That's called of passive reading. So this is the chronology. uh, Unique question is greater than flashcard, is greater than passive reading. Okay, unique question add will a unique question will add more to your knowledge than the flashcard, than the passive reading. Okay, so make sure you fix this equation in your mind.
Thank you so much. So, our next question, and we've got many questions about this. What changes do you expect with step one becoming pass and fail? And do you think step two scores will have greater importance now? So many people are in this constant doubt that, will the studying patterns change, or what's going to happen with this entire situation of it being pass and fail in the future?
See, if it is I think if you read the FAQs of ECFMG and the USMLE website, they will state that they are in discovery of a holistic approach of identifying the residencies. And I was not understanding what the holistic approach is. That means they want something, not just scores. They want you be all rounder everywhere. They want you be good at academics. They want you to be good at socially, how you communicate, how you show your empathy to your patient. So that is going to play a role in future. So if step 1 is turning pass and fail, definitely uh, the weightage of score will fall into step 2. So there's no doubt about it, because somehow some objective things is required for the program directors to screen you, and definitely that weightage will come to step 2 anyway. If you are giving it before 2022, your scores will remain as it is, but maybe after 2022 your scores, if you are appearing after 2022, it will be pass or fail, and definitely weightage will fall into step 2 and other curricular activities also.
Okay, thank you so much. So most of our participants here, like many of them are from first year and second year, in the beginning years of their med school. So they have this doubt as to like, how are they supposed to like go about it, and what would you suggest? What would your message be for beginners like first year and second year students? When would be the ideal time to give the step one exam, since they have a lot of time in their hands and they are in the very starting stages of actually studying preclinical subjects? So what do you think should they do?
I think first and second year will be. I think they are what step 1 is all about. It's all about anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, pharmac, and pathology. So if you make your first and second year damn strong, I think you are going to crash that USMLE step 1 examination. So if you are in first year or second year, first year I think will be too early, because I think by 6 months you will just get oriented to the medical terminologies which you are hearing, and by the time you do, anatomy will play a hard part in your life, and by the time university exam will come. So in first year I maybe watched Dr. Najib videos about some physiology stuff and that, but I was very serious in second year. uh, if you are in second year, then you should be having hold of all three main subjects: pharmac, micro, and patho. Okay, do whatever it takes. For microbiology there is sketchy micro out there. That's awesome thing. I think everybody should look at that sketchy micro. It will be great for visual learners. Okay, so if you are in second year, make sure you have a good command over the subjects. Watch Kaplan videos, watch Dr. Najib, and do everything for all those three subjects. Make a good hold on them, okay? Because they are going to lay a basic foundation. After you are in second year and you have good hold on those subjects, and if you plan to take step one in maybe third year, then you can focus on first year subjects when you come to third year. But second year subjects are the main cornerstone content for your step one preparation. Go hard about it.
Thank you so much. And now the question about CV. Like, I am sure you might have heard a lot about it. How important is CV, and does research really matter? People say that ICMR projects, if you've done ICMR projects, or how important is research in your CV? How important are extracurricular activities, and how important is CV actually?
CV is definitely the most important thing for USMLE interviews. Okay, actually, the program directors will lay filters. Like for example, you have 100 applicants. How will you filter out them? First of all, they will filter out you with step one score. So your main focus, apart from everything, should be your step one score. Don't run around research. I'm not saying you don't run around, but have a good hold on your step one first, because what's the fun if you get filtered out, just having not good step one scores, you'll be filtered out. Then what is the role of having good CV around you? Okay, so focus on step one score. Then if you want to really build, you have really good time, then definitely research is a good thing. Volunteer work are good thing. Extracurricular activities, like for example, if you are doing something for MSAI, that will definitely add to your CV. So definitely CV is going to be cornerstone. But I think it will be very premature to talk about CV if you are just in the tunnel of preparation for step 1 and step 2. Your right now focus should be on step 1 and step 2. Then you can just move on. If you get a chance, definitely do a research, because something is better than nothing. If you have a chance to do some volunteer work, do, because that will add to your CV. If you have a chance to book a world record, maybe just mail Guinness Book of World Record and get a world record, because that will definitely add to your CV. So yes, that was all about uh, I think with me.
Thank you so much. So the next question is that USMLE is supposed to be quite financially exhausting. What
Mhm.
are your thoughts over the same?
See, financial challenges are definitely going to be faced. Okay, what I am doing right now is paying my bills through credit cards, and yes, that's how I am doing. But if you are from middle class family like I, definitely you might have to spare some 10-15 lakhs for USMLE step one journey. But be as tight as possible in spending money for your USMLE journey, because you will have to spend money for your step one, step two, maybe OET this year, CS examination next year, and you need to fly to US, do observerships, and for that everything you will need maybe 10 to 15 lakhs, a wholesome amount. So it's better to have a tight hand on some preparation materials. If they are available for free, then get them for free. Now like if you are really asking me how should I get those 10 to 15 lakhs, maybe borrow from your relatives. That what I can do. But you need maybe 10 to 15 lakhs for that. Get a high limit credit card for that, because ultimately once you reach there, uh, you'll be able to pay back that, I'm sure. because ultimately if you do residency in India, that will ultimately cost you 8 to 10 lakhs per year. Okay, so that's way and even in the end of 3 years, you will have an debt of additional 4 to 5 lakhs years, and you have earned nothing. So it's going to be same way around. It's not like a USMLE journey is expensive, but 10 to 15 lakh, yes.
Thank you so much. So the last question from the participants would be, it's like there are two sub questions. The first being about electives, like what next, what after step one, when is the right time for electives, what exactly, because people are clouded about this. And the second question for you is that, is it true that, Indian students about, the branches that they want, surgery and medicine, and the branches that they usually match with, like elective medicine or pediatrics. So the entire concept behind what is the actual picture over there.
Okay, so uh, electives are something which you do when you are still a medical student. Okay, right now everything is shut off due to this COVID thing. Nothing is available, only tele rotations. But electives, yes, definitely it will add to the experience. Okay, because they want everything that you know about United States healthcare system. It's nothing written there. The nurses will walk with laptop on their trolley. They will not walk with the crash cart. They will not walk with the pen and that uh, register to note down everything. They will walk with laptops. Patient will fly from helicopter and land on your hospital, so everything is different there. So they just basically want you to know the healthcare system in United States. So that's all they expect, because nothing they can expect from 1 to 2 months of electives. If you are done with step one, definitely electives, you apply at many programs. You can apply if your school is registered for visas, VSAS. Okay, then you can get electives more easily. I think everybody should encourage their college to register for visas. It's VSAS. Okay, so that's kind of a waiver thing. You need to pay maybe a little bit fee if you want your college to be registered, but I think that would be a great way. If your school is registered for visas, I think you will get electives more easily, rather than mailing different colleges and getting the letters and doing the things. Did I answer that question? I think I forgot the second sub question.
Yeah, the second sub question was regarding the branch that Indian
Oh,
students tend to get.
yes. Most of the Indian IMGs will focus on internal medicine. And if you want to go for surgery, anesthesia, skin, there are competitive branch out there. If you are really wanting that you want to do surgery in United States, then apart from getting a good score, your CV and research thing should be very much stronger. Okay, so like there are some people who have matched into surgery, who have matched into skin. Who have matched into radiologists. But apart from scores, you need some connections in the United States, maybe with the program directors. And apart from that, CV is going to play a great role. It's not that you cannot get, definitely you can get the residency, but you will need to work hard for that. You need to spare another maybe 2 to 3 years. You need those research articles published in a good journals and your dedication to that branch. Like if you want in surgery, then you should have research articles on surgery and you should be up about that. So yes, that was about the branches. But IMGs usually go with internal medicine and family medicine, psychiatry. But definitely it's not limited to that. You can definitely aim for a higher competitive branch there. Definitely doable.
Thank you so much. So a sub question to the previous one that I asked. So which one is better, like electives or observationships?
Definitely elective is better than observership, because in elective you do hands on. You can touch the patient, but in observership you can not touch the patient. But both things have come to same level in the COVID thing, because anyway you are not able to touch the patient if you are doing electives also. But definitely if you get a chance to do electives, maybe in your medical students, as your medical student status, electives are greater than observership.
Thank you so much. So we are done with the questions by the participants and questions from our side, which we think are the most asked questions by USMLE students. So the final message that you would like to give to all the USMLE aspirants out there.
Final message about all the USMLE student who are hitting uh, and looking forward for doing something great for our country. I would really encourage everybody to do something great for our country, because our country needs a better healthcare system, which we know. All right. So if you are aiming for United States medical licensing examination, give a thought about it. And if you're really onto it, then start working on it, because definitely if you dream, you can achieve. That's what I would suggest to everyone. And I think if you still want to maybe contact me after this webinar, uh, you can just message me on Instagram and maybe on my email, which is on my Instagram profile. So I will be happy to help you all. And in the end, I would also like to thank Dr. Ritika. You were awesome host for this meeting, and I am glad people like you are definitely doing something great, which was which I think which is extremely awesome. You juniors are like, I like I'm always passionate about the upcoming generation, because they are awesome. I mean, they are incredible. People like you are grabbing the people together and doing something for our country. That is what is required for our country. I very much appreciate Dr. Ritika. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Apurva, for removing your time, and the entire MedFest OC wants to thank you for this. And thanks to Molly for helping me host the event successfully. And really, thanks a lot for removing time, because in the end, we all look up to people like you who, have achieved great things. So thanks a lot for clearing all the doubts that all of us had.
Thank you, Dr. Ritika, and I would like to thank Molly also. Thank you, Molly, for this, and entire MSAI people, Medical Students Association of India. You people are doing great job, and keep doing and keep working hard and make India proud. That's what I want to say.
Thank you so much. That's really sweet of you. Thanks a lot. And all the participants do follow Dr. Apurva on Instagram, and you can ask him doubts there or email him regarding the same. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye, Dr. Apurva. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.